Danielle, so I was looking for a dental assistant. Why was I looking for a dental assistant? Because I had tolerated a dental assistant, been working in this office for 15 years, who was undermining me almost the entire time. And I was reluctant, or I thought I was real. This certain person was so important to my practice that there was no way on earth that I could let her go until a few things just happened, and they got so bad that I said, "All right, you got to do this." And she said, "I'm not doing this." And we parted company, and that person went away along with my primary surgical assistant. It turned out that somebody who was working in my office, who happened to be Danielle's part-time, wait, who babysat for who? Danielle, you babysat for her? Or she babysat?
I did, yes.
You babysat for her?
Yes.
Okay. Danielle was only what, like a year or 2 years older than
Yes.
How do you hire a babysitter that's 2 years older than you are? Anyway. So besides the mom, there was the person who was working in my office who had actually been pushed down by this dental assistant, who I ultimately fired. In other words, this person who was working as my transcriptionist wanted to work in the back. She started working in the back. She was put down by this dental assistant to the point where she became very nervous and said, "There's no way on earth I can be a dental assistant," and went back to transcription. Ultimately, I fired this individual, and Kathy moved from the front to the back, and all of a sudden, Kathy was able to perform. Kathy is now, by the way, an RN. Why couldn't she perform the first time, but she could perform the second time? Because there was somebody there who was questioning everything she was doing. Somebody there who made her feel bad. Somebody there who wasn't encouraging and instead was discouraging. Somebody there who essentially was confronting somebody who said, "This is my territory, and I'm going to maintain my territory. And just because you think you can be there, I'm going to make sure covertly that you know you can't do it." It was a revelation to me. I'm supposedly known in Perio as a big practice management guru. You wouldn't have thought that of me before 2003. Because I let things happen. And I didn't have systems in place. Oh, I'd learned systems, but I didn't have the systems in place, and I wasn't willing to confront somebody who was actually destroying my practice. It's a big deal, obviously. So Danielle came in. She came in as my only surgical assistant. Essentially, Kathy was assisting me. Danielle came in a few weeks later. Kathy trained Danielle for half a day and then said, "Danielle, this is it." Now, Danielle knew how to bend wires and put on brackets. I mean, that's what she knew.
That's it.
So Danielle came in and she started working and she started studying. She started studying everything: charts, probing, periodontal pocket depth, why you would do an implant, what a soft tissue graft is, everything else, so that she could do the work and she could discuss it well with the patient. So Danielle unfortunately leaves and comes back, a year and a half later. And she comes in. I already have a primary assistant. In fact, I had a second assistant. In fact, Danielle called me and said, "Do you know of anybody who might want to hire me? Because I'm moving back to Melbourne, Florida." And there was no hesitation. I was hiring Danielle. So Danielle came in, and Danielle was second surgical assistant. The primary surgical assistant was great. And by the way, the primary surgical assistant was the one who said, "Hey, this is my territory. Nobody's taking over as primary." But the two of them got along and they did okay. But she said, I've earned primary, and she did. And Danielle was secondary, which is good. And that was fine. And Danielle did fine with that, I guess. You'll have to ask her. So Danielle comes in, and Danielle does the work and knows that we have systems in place, or at least we have systems, but they're not in place. I had taken a lot of management training so we knew the systems were there. So My wife and I take a vacation for a week, 10 days, something like that. Danielle takes it on herself to implement one of those systems. What's the system? Danielle tells everyone to write up their hat. In other words, write up everything they do, the entire description of their particular position. So whether it was phone receptionist, front desk, whether it was dental assistant, hygienist, Danielle took it on herself to have everybody write up their hats. And by the time I got back from vacation, everybody had written up their hats. I said, wait a minute. I guess you're the office manager. And Danielle's been the office manager. And what Danielle did was to continue to study, continue to grow, and to continue to get to the point where now she's nationally known and she's the one who's the big lecturer. And I kind of sit there and I smile. I say, I remember that shy little dental assistant. And here she is. So